हेलो फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप सब? आई होप यू ऑल आर डूइंग गुड एंड preparing well for your examination, as the examination is quite near and now you don't have much time to waste. But at the same time, I hope you all are taking care of your health and keeping yourself hydrated and taking care of your food. So please do take care of these things and do not get immersed in studies so much that you neglect your health, because once you are healthy, then only you can perform good in the examination hall. So I was covering the historiography portion and I covered only part 1, and after that I really got busy and couldn't cover the part 2 that I promised that I will do. So here I am with part 2, because I think this is an important unit for your examination, and you should definitely cover this before going to the examination hall. That's why I thought I should cover this left out portion too. So here is a disclaimer that before you go on covering this particular part or this video, make sure you have covered the part 1 of this topic that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel. So do check it out and complete the part 1, then only you should move the part 2, because in part 1 I have covered the nationalist, Marxist and colonialist historiography. So just cover them up before covering the other schools of historiography. So in this particular video, I'll be covering two left out schools of historiography, that is Cambridge School and Subaltern School. So let's begin our today's topic, that is Cambridge School. So once we are covering the Cambridge School, so you should know that it was an extension of the imperialist school or colonialist school. ठीक है, colonialist historiography में क्या होता है? They blame the Indians for their backwardness and take themselves or show themselves as heroes who are there to bring the change in the Indian society, in the Indian polity, in every area of Indian conduct. Okay, but what happens in Cambridge School? So here also they take the Britishers side only and highlight the Britishers as the flag bearer of change in for the Indian society. But here they blame Indian people for everything, like for each and everything in the Indian society that was happening during the time of nationalism. So we can say that though the Cambridge School was an extension of the imperialist school, but here the blame was shifted on the Indians. Okay, so they do not take the blame for the marginalization of the Indian society or for draining the Indian society. No, they put the blame on the Indians. How? That we need to understand. Okay, so this school of so this school basically appears from the 1960s onwards, but on the forefront it came in 1973 only. So the correct time period will be 1973, but before that they were setting the base, they were setting the background for launching their schools of historiography, for launching their narrative, for their marginalization of Indian society. So once this school was launched, three influential or notable works came in the forefront that are important from the examination point of view. So first one was D.A. Lowe, इनकी book आई थी Soundings in Contemporary South Asian History. Okay, then J.H. Bromfield, इनकी Elite Disagreement in a Plural Society, 20th Century Bengal. Then Anil Seal की आई थी The Emergence of Indian Nationalism, Competition and Collaboration in the Later 19th Century. So these are the three important books that you should remember for the examination. Okay, then what are the important points that the Cambridge School raises? Let's cover that. So they basically criticizes the Marxist and raises three important points against the Marxists. On the one hand, Marxist talks about the class and class struggle and how the class struggle basically led to the exploitation of the Indian society in the long term. So they say that the main force behind contemporary politics, what was happening in India at that time, was not economic change, but on the contrary, institutional innovations introduced by the British. तो what is meant by this statement कि institutional innovation introduced by the British. So they say that the Cambridge School says that जो भी इंस्टीट्यूशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ब्रिटिश ऑफर कर रहे थे इंडियंस को, तो जो लोग पावर में थे, जो लोग फेम या स्टेटस एक्वायर करके रखा हुआ था जिन लोगों ने उस समय में इंडियन सोसाइटी में, सो दे वर द वंस हु टुक द बेनिफिट ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशनल इनोवेशंस लॉन्च्ड बाय द ब्रिटिश, लाइक कि इंग्लिश एजुकेशन या फिर कोई भी लॉ या स्कीम आ रही है तो उसका जो फ़ायदा है वो पावरफुल पीपल को मिलता था, ठीक है। और जो पावरफुल लोग होते थे वो उस अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ को उसका फ़ायदा उठाने की कोशिश करते थे कि हाउ दे कैन गेट बेनिफिट आउट ऑफ दैट, एंड इफ़ इन द केस दे आर नॉट एबल टू रीप द बेनिफिट और गेट द बेनिफिट, सो व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू डू, दे यूज्ड टू इंस्टिगेट द नेशनलिस्ट फीलिंग अमंग द मासेस, और उनको वो रिबेल या फिर रिवॉल्ट करने के लिए उकसाते थे। तो मेन फोर्स अबाउट इंडियन society or Indian politics at that point of time was that the institutional innovations introduced by the British, तो जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ब्रिटिश दे रहे थे उसका ज़्यादा फ़ायदा पावरफुल पीपल लोग उठाने की कोशिश करते थे, बट अगर उनको लगता था कि नहीं हम वो बेनिफिट रीप नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, सो दे यूज्ड टू इंस्टिगेट द मासेस। सो कंटेम्प्रेरी पॉलिटिक्स वाज द मेन फोर्स बिहाइंड एवरीथिंग, एंड सो you can see they are blaming the Indians for everything, and अनिल सिल भी उसी चीज़ को एम्फेसाइज करते हैं। देन जॉन ब्रूमफील्ड अपने वर्क में ये भी उसी इंस्टीट्यूशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ को एम्फेसाइज करते हैं जो ब्रिटिश ऑफर कर रहे थे इंडियंस को, और वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलती किसको थी, पावरफुल पीपल को मिलती थी, ठीक है। सो इफ़ दे आर एबल टू रीप द बेनिफिट देन इट्स गुड, एंड इफ़ दे आर नॉट एबल टू रीप द बेनिफिट्स देन दे instigate the masses to rebel, to revolt against the Britishers. Then the second point this school focuses upon is that the interpretation focused upon the region as against the nation and upon traditional cultures in each region. So Cambridge School basically studies the regions. इनके आप जितनी भी बुक्स देखोगे, जितने भी वर्क्स देखोगे हिस्टोरियंस के, उसमें देखोगे मोस्टली इन्होंने रीजनल स्टडी की है और रीजन पे फोकस किया है। वहाँ के जो भी पावरफुल लीडर्स होते थे वो हाउ दे यूज्ड टू मोल्ड द पॉलिटिक्स फॉर देयर ओन बेनिफिट्स, उस पर फोकस किया हुआ है, ठीक है। सो कैम्ब्रिज स्कूल बेसिकली फोकसेस ऑन द रीजन एज अगेंस्ट द नेशन, तो नेशन एंड हाउ द नेशन वाज नेवर द कंसर्न ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल रूलर्स ऑफ एनी एरिया, ठीक है। देन थर्ड पॉइंट दिस स्कूल हाईलाइट्स इज दैट कि इन्हें क्लास स्ट्रगल से कोई लेना देना नहीं होता था, या फिर इन्हें जो पावरफुल एलीट्स होते थे किसी भी रीजन के, उन्हें कास्ट या फिर सोशल हायरार्की में क्या चीज़ें चल रही हैं तो उस पर उनका फोकस नहीं होता था, बल्कि उनका फोकस होता था अबाउट द इंग्लिश एजुकेटेड अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, ठीक है। सो the interpretation focused not upon class and class disagreement but upon the formation of English educated elite and upon the rivalries within each region. So that's the thing. So तीन चीज़ें जो ये स्कूल हाईलाइट करता है वो ये, पहला कि इंस्टीट्यूशनल अपॉर्चुनिटी जो ब्रिटिशर्स ऑफर कर रहे थे लोगों को, हाउ द लोकल पीपल यूज टू टेक द बेनिफिट ऑफ दैट, देन it focuses upon the region and not the nation. Nation was never the concern. And then third was also about how the petty rulers or the छोटे जो किंग होते थे या किसी भी पर्टिकुलर एरिया का जो रूलर होता था, how they used to take the benefit of the opportunities offered by the British, and caste societies and other things was never the concern. So that's the three things that Cambridge School has highlighted against the Marxist. Then let's see the characteristics of the Cambridge School. Cambridge School interpretation began with locality and with the connections in each locality. यहाँ पर जो connections की बात हो रही है ये राजास की बात हो रही है, जिन्हें नोबल्स या फिर नोटेबल पीपल भी कहा जाता था, तो इनकी बात हो रही है। तो ये बेसिकली लोकेलिटी और उस लोकेलिटी में जो लोगों के आपस में कनेक्शन होते थे उस पर फोकस करता है कैम्ब्रिज स्कूल, ठीक है। देन कैम्ब्रिज स्कूल मेनली ऑफर्स यू रीजनल डिस्क्रिप्शंस टू शो दैट लोकल पॉलिटिक्स एंड देयर वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट प्ले मेजर रोल इन द ब्रिटिश कोलोनियलिज्म। तो आपको अगर एक लाइन में बोला जाए तो लोकल, रीजन regional politics, these are the words that you can associate with the Cambridge school. ठीक है, ये C.A. बेली ने किया अपने वर्क में बताया हुआ है कि हाउ द लोकल इंटरेस्ट्स यूज टू प्ले द all the politics and how the blame has been shifted on the Britishers that they have done wrong to the Indian people or the Indian society, but they clarify that no, we never interfered in your politics, you called us to interfere in your politics. For example, कि जब आप देखते हैं कि अगर हम अवध का केस ले लें या फिर हम हैदराबाद का केस ले लें, तो वहाँ के जो रूलर्स थे तो उन्होंने ब्रिटिशर्स की हेल्प मांगी थी दैट दे शुड हेल्प देम सो दैट दे कैन विन ओवर देयर काउंटर पार्ट, राइट. तो जैसे सिराजुद्दौला के केस में जो उनके अगेंस्ट में मीर जाफ़र या फिर ओमी चंद, ये सब लोग किसके पास जाते थे दौड़ के? ब्रिटिशर्स के पास, कि दैट दे शुड हेल्प अस एंड मैनेज सिराजुद्दौला. सो दैट्स हाउ people called Britishers for the help. So they blame the Indians कि we came on your calling, आपने हमें बुलाया इसलिए हम आए आपकी मदद करने के लिए. So we interfered in your politics because you asked us to do so. Okay, so I hope you are getting the point. You can take various example. In Hyderabad also there was Hyder Ali and then Tipu Sultan. So when Anglo-Maratha war was going on, so then also people called Britishers for the help, and that's why even the Marathas lost because some people allied with the Britishers. So that's how they give the example. You can see there are n number of example where we were called to interfere in the Indian politics. So we cannot be blamed directly for everything. So आई होप दिस पॉइंट इज़ क्लियर नाउ. देन C.A. बेली ये इलाहाबाद टाउन के ऊपर वर्क करते हैं. उसी तरह अनिल सील हैं, इन्होंने अपनी आर्टिकल इंपीरियलिज्म नेशनलिज्म इन इंडिया इन लोकेलिटी प्रोविंस एंड नेशन में भी एक रीजन की स्टडी की और बताया है. सो बेसिकली दिस स्कूल स्टडीज़ द रीजन एंड टेल्स कि हाउ वहाँ के जो रूलर्स हैं दे यूज टू कॉल देम फॉर हेल्प एंड इफ़ दे डोंट गेट द बेनिफिट, जैसे वो उन्हें अगर हेल्प कर देते थे देन तो इट्स गुड, बट अगर दे डोंट हेल्प देम सो दे यूज टू instigate the local people that you should rebel and you should revolt against the Britishers. Now as you can see there is a list of important books of the Cambridge school. So I have shared this list in my telegram channel and you can take the list from there. I'll pin the telegram channel link in the description or in the comment box, so you can go from there and see the full list. I'll be sharing all the school's important book list on my telegram channel. Make sure you cover these lists like n number of times, at least 10 to 15 times, so that it remembers, it get stuck in your mind and you can eliminate in the examination hall, because ये mostly आज बुक में से ही है और ये सारी बुक्स जो शेयर कर रही हूँ मैं ये पहले पूछी जा चुकी है आपके PYQs में. So make sure you do them for sure. So that's it about the Cambridge school, and let's move towards the subaltern school, and it's one of my favorite school and I really want to study deep about this school because it has so much to offer in the field of historiography and in general also. Okay, so let's move towards the subaltern school. So this is also known as the history from below school. Why it is known as history from below? Below means कि the people who were left out while giving the interpretation about the Indian nationalism or the British colonialism of Indian society. So while giving any interpretation related to the British rule in India, so some of the sections were left out and not included and not given enough credit. So this school came exactly for the same reason, right? To give the voices to those who got no voice in all other interpretation. So you can see it believed that entire tradition of Indian historiography before it had elitist bias. Elitist bias means कि जो अपर स्ट्रेटा है सोसाइटी की या जो एजुकेटेड पीपल हैं या जो लीडर हैं जिन्होंने अच्छी लीडरशिप दिखाई थी नेशनलिज्म में, सो मोस्टली द मोस्ट popular faces or the elitist or the educated ones got the credit for participation in the Indian nationalism. But some of the sections, some of the uh, society, marginalized section of the society didn't got enough credit for their role or for their participation in the Indian freedom of struggle. और जो एलिटिस्ट बायस की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे, सो इट इज़ बेसिकली सेइंग कि लाइक पीजेंट्स हैं या ट्राइबल पीपल हैं या अदर सेक्शंस हैं, कुछ छोटे मोटे लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपना योगदान दिया था नेशनल मूवमेंट में, बट दे डिडंट गॉट मच क्रेडिट. तो एलिटिस्ट बायस मीन्स कि सब लोगों को इनफ क्रेडिट नहीं मिला है, सिर्फ जो एलिटिस्ट पीपल थे, जो पॉपुलर फेसेस है, दे गॉट द क्रेडिट. सो दैट्स हाउ द न्यू स्कूल ऑफ हिस्टोरियोग्राफी इमर्ज्ड and they declared that they would correct the position by writing history from the point of view of the common people. इसमें common people के रोल को हाईलाइट किया जाएगा कि how those who got no voice, this school became the voice for those people. ठीक है. रणजीत गुहा, he is an important historian associated with this school. So he termed the historians as marginalized academics. Marginalized academics, why? Because most of the academics comes from the marginalized communities and from the group of common people. Okay, so that's how the term they got this term marginalized academics. Then let's see the important characteristics of this school. So as we have discussed, it launched itself to highlight the struggle of the common people or the marginalized communities, and the prime mover of this particular idea was Ranajit Guha, and he was informed by Gramscian thought. मतलब Antonio Gramsci was someone who was associated with this school before, because he did something like that in Africa, and that's how the Ranajit Guha got the idea that it's applicable in India also. So right from the very beginning, it was set against almost all existing traditions of Indian historiography. This school basically criticizes all the earlier traditions of historiography like colonialist, nationalist and Marxist. और सबको क्रिटिसाइज करने का उन्होंने रीज़न दे रखा है कि colonial rule को ऐसे दिखाया है कि वो fulfillment of a mission to enlighten the ignorant people. colonialist को ऐसे दिखाया. Then nationalist को ऐसे दिखाया कि that कि जितने भी protest activities was going on in India was towards the making of a nation state. They basically it concerned about the nation. Then Marxist को criticize किया है कि all the progress has been made, जितने भी peoples के struggle थे, that was to fulfill the formation of a socialist state. So that's how it criticizes all of the schools, and इसका जो aim था वो manifold है. So some of these are written here, like to show the bourgeois and elite character of Congress nationalism. कांग्रेस को तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा क्रिटिसाइज़ करते हैं कि कांग्रेस ने अपने नेशनलिज्म में इलिटिस्ट कैरेक्टर शो किया था, एंड जो पॉपुलर रेडिकलिज्म है उसको हाईलाइट नहीं किया बहुत ज़्यादा. देन द सेकेंड एम वॉज दैट जितना लोगों का जो स्ट्रगल था उसको इन्होंने ग्रैंड नैरेटिव में, कांग्रेस ने ग्रैंड नैरेटिव में कन्वर्ट कर दिया इंडिया के नेशनलिज्म के साथ. ठीक है, मतलब पीपल्स का जो स्ट्रगल था उसको कोई बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं दी गई. ठीक है, एंड देन टू रिकन्स्ट्रक्ट द सब अल्टर्न कॉन्शियसनेस. इस स्कूल में मेन एम इनका ये है कि हमें ये दिखाना है कि भाई सब अल्टर्न जो मार्जिनलाइज्ड कम्युनिटीज़ थी उनकी भी कॉन्शियसनेस थी अपनी, और उनकी भी अपनी एक ऑटोनॉमी थी, और that they also had the thinking power or the intellectual capacity to think about themselves or to think about any national movement or any rebellion or any activity for that matter, so that you cannot subsume the struggle of the common people in the grand narrative of the Indian nationalism, right? So they took out the official sources and started reading them against the grain. This is an important line, against the grain. This is even asked in your interviews when you go somewhere, and it was asked to me also in one of the interview that what do you mean by reading against the grain. So it basically means that reading something that is not written, like while you are reading an official document or any archive, so you have to read it against the grain. So like you cannot decipher the meaning that is given on paper, because they'll not show you everything. So you have to read it against the grain, like against the context, and go in depth to search for that context that is given to you, presented to you, right? तो आपको उस मटेरियल को डिग डीप करना है और इन बिटवीन द लाइंस चीज़ें खोजनी है, उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट के कितने मीनिंग हो सकते हैं उनको समझना है. तो एक जनरल रीडिंग से आपको हटके यू हैव टू डिराइव द डिफरेंट मीनिंग एंड अनकवर द डिफरेंट लेयर्स. दैट इज व्हाट मीन बाय अगेंस्ट द ग्रेन, and I hope it's clear now. Then they made it clear that they would set the position right by writing the history from the point of view of the common people. So they basically write from the point of view of common people, and they say that कि हमारी जो हिस्ट्री है वो ऑटोनमस है फ्रॉम द डोमिनेंट क्लासेस हिस्ट्री. तो प्लीज़ डू नॉट सबस्यूम अस under your history or your interpretation of history. So that's how it came to be known as history from below, and they declared that they are different, they are other from the Congress nationalism or the history or interpretation given by the Congress. Then let's see the book list of this particular school, that is Subaltern School. So here is the book list. That is David Ludden, इनकी रीडिंग Subaltern Studies. Subaltern Studies 11 volumes 1982 to 2000. Then विनायक चतुर्वेदी की मैपिंग Subaltern Studies and the Post Colonial. विनय लाल की वॉकिंग with the Subalterns, Riding with the Academy. दीपेश चक्रवर्ती पोस्ट कोलोनियलिटी एंड आर्टिफाइस ऑफ हिस्ट्री. दीपेश चक्रवर्ती सबॉल्टर्न स्टडीज़ एंड पोस्ट कोलोनियल हिस्टोरियोग्राफी. इसमें से दीपेश चक्रवर्ती एंड विनय लाल या विनायक चतुर्वेदी की बुक पीछे PYQs में पूछी जा चुकी है. सो यू कैन गेट द लिस्ट फ्रॉम द टेलीग्राम चैनल, एंड आई होप नाउ यू आर very much clear with the today's topic, that is Cambridge School and Subaltern School. So Cambridge School basically focuses upon client pattern relationship and upon region, locality, provinces. So these are the major themes of the Cambridge School. And for the Subaltern School, it is history from below. It is written from the common marginalized people. So even Ranajit Guha termed the historians as marginalized academics. So these are the major points that you need to remember about particular school of history, and cover them or supplement them along with the book list, and you are good to go. So one thing that I wanted to show you guys is that the syllabus of Unit 10. So Unit 10 is a very miscellaneous type of unit where you have to study a very scattered topics. So you can see that here is the list of topics from the syllabus of UGC NET for Unit 10. And what we have covered in the historiography section, so recent Indian historiography. So this we have covered in the historiography section. Then all of these things are very, like you can Google them and cover them from anywhere. So some of the topics are easy. So you have to cover only some topics. Among all of these topics, जो really important है examination point of view से, वो ये 4 topics हैं. Recent Indian historiography, postmodernism in history, then Berlin Revolution in history, and challenge and response theory of Arnold Joseph Toynbee. So these are the 4 topics that is really important from the examination point of view. Others you can just Google them and read it from anywhere, and then go on practicing PYQs. So after this I'm thinking to cover or bring PYQs of Unit 10 for UGC NET June 2026 attempt, because now very less time is left. और आगे की यूनिट्स तो हर कोई करके चला जाएगा, बट जो पीछे की यूनिट्स हैं उनको कवर करना है. ये जो लास्ट यूनिट है, जो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट यूनिट है, वो कई बार हम छोड़ देते हैं या फिर टाइम की कमी की वजह से रह जाता है. सो आई विल ट्राई टू ब्रिंग द PYQ सीरीज फॉर unit 10 especially, so that you cover the historiography section well. So stay tuned and all the best for your examination. And if you like the video, then like, share and subscribe. Thank you.